What's up? I'm Toby.
I'm Jerome.
And I'm Matt.
We're the Omnific, and we're watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 197 of Richard Metal Fan Interviews, here backstage at the Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm here making their debut all the way from Australia, killing it in the A-Town tonight, the Omnific. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it's great to finally have you guys over here. So kind of like the format is, I want to do a rundown of y'all's discography and talk about y'all's musical journey. But take me back to growing up in Australia. What were the first bands, I guess, for you, Matt and Toby, to play bass, and for you, Jerome, to play drums? So let's go first.
This also doesn't reach all the way with that.
Yeah. I'll just put it right here.
I can go first. Yeah, so as Richard mentioned, we're from Australia, and just growing up, for myself, inspiring me wanting to play bass and playing bass, I guess, at a very technical level. Dream Theater is the number one for me. You can probably see that in the bass that I like to play in the bongo, one of the basses that we both use on stage, to the technicality that John Mayer has, and not just finishing at John Mayer, but also the technicality of all the members of that band, be that John Petrucci, Portnoy, or Mangini for the drums, just the way they approach writing music, playing music, techniques involved, all of that. And then the more I got into metal music, you get more down the flippier, plenty routes, which gets more into the sound we made as a band, the Omnific. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely my starting inspiration for playing bass and also the Omnific.
I think when I started playing metal, listening to metal, it was listening to kind of more simple stuff. To be honest, even bands like Escape the Fate is what I was listening to, and so all of my kind of upbringing was based around songwriting, and the technicality kind of came in at a later date. But it's always about writing a song. It's always been the primal objective. But when you only have bass, and that's the main instrument, it's going to get complicated because you want to make that engaging. So yeah, I mean that's the answer for me.
Yeah. What about you, Jerome, to play drums?
Getting into metal. My drum teacher actually showed me between the very beginning, second lesson was pretty pro from the start, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, my drum writing was very influenced by Blake Richardson. So from the get go. So yeah, that helps. Obviously helps with the music. It's very aggressive.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So were you guys in any bands before starting up the Omnific, or was it y'all's first band?
I was in a couple local bands in Melbourne, and Matt filled in the bass in one of them, Call of Duty, and yeah, that's how we met as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been in bands before this one. It was kind of we've all been doing local bands, that's the same. And when we started Omnific, I think what was great from the start is we all kind of had great perspectives on what needs to work, what needs to happen to make it work, rather than starting from scratch as the first bands. That's, really
Yeah.
when we started.
Yeah, because y'all formed in 2016, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was sort of the mind frame going into making the Omnific?
Matt, you want to answer this?
Yeah, I never have a straight answer for this one because we never went out there to be we're going to create this two-bass band, that's what we're going to do. It kind of just fell into place, starting by just having a jam, being we're two pretty competent bass players, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Write a short little snippet of the song and then go from there, and then it just evolved into a full EP. I think Sonos you've got over there somewhere. Yeah, that one there, that was our first EP that we just kind of made, a bit trial and error, I'd say that EP was, but where it's taken us now, we're in America now, so
Yeah.
it's done very well for us, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I loved the title track Sonaris. I love the little playthrough where it had you in the forest. Where was that forest at? Was that just somewhere in Australia?
Yeah, I think that's 15 minutes from my place, Dandenong.
Wow, perfectly convenient for you, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was pretty much my introduction to the Omnific. I kind of started like from the first and then worked my way to the recent release. At least I think you guys are like the most original sounding band, especially with two bass players in a metal band. Like we were talking with you, Matt, beforehand. Like I think it's the first time a metal band has two bass players, and the way you like make like the dueling kind of like harmonized parts, kind of like what like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest do with guitar, but it's with bass. And I think it's very original sounding. And was that sort of like the thought process going into making this album or EP?
Really appreciate your kind words, but I think the thought process is just trying to write cool songs with bass, and it comes out in those kind of ways.
Yeah, yeah. And so when this released, did you just play like locally around Australia?
Yeah, we, started like any other local band does, playing small shows here and there, and I guess just kind of built that up.
Yeah. And what was it like working with Simon Grove, who did a guest solo on Pharaoh?
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago now, and Sam's still a great friend now, and just a great dude. His production career has skyrocketed since he did this with us in 2016. So, yeah, Simon's great, and he does great work.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And kind of going into the next release, Kismet, because usually with the debut release, you have your entire life to write, and there was a lot of hype with the first release. When it came to making Kismet, did you felt like pressure to follow up Sonaris?
Like, I guess a little bit, but we definitely just kept the songwriting just to what we wanted to do, and if that was well received, then we were thrilled with that. Like that record for us is still very, very personal, even though it was 6 years ago. Yeah, there's songs on that record. We're not playing today, unfortunately, but when we do our headline sets, we still feature some tracks from that record, which is pretty cool because it was so long ago when they were written. Like I would have been like 19 when they were written. And,
Wow.
I would never expect to play something after definitely maturing musically since then. I think all of us can say the same thing. Like we still enjoy playing songs from. Actually, no, we do play a song.
Yeah, Object Stiver too.
We play that today.
Yeah, I especially love like the harmonizing bass that do 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 do. It's just really catchy. It's very earworm music, I would describe.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a song that seems to resonate with a lot of people worldwide, and we've played it almost at every show we've ever done, and it's been such a fun one to play.
Yeah.
Through the years.
Yeah, and I know you also play like some piano on this CP. So is there like sort of like a different like mind frame playing like some keys versus playing bass?
I wouldn't say I play piano. I just learned it growing up, and we sort of just went for it. On that record, it was not. I put in a lot of effort to figure out how to play it again, but I haven't really played the piano since recording that record.
Oh wow.
But like nothing piano-wise on that album is like insane technicality. It's more, I guess, as Tony mentioned before, we just want that songwriting to be like what we love, and it doesn't have to be technical. It just has to sound something that we like.
Yeah, and one thing I love, you did like a part 2 of Sonaris. What made you guys decide to do like a part 2?
That sort of the name just kind of came later with some of the I guess motifs in the first Sonaris kind of fusing its way into the writing of the second one. So then the name just kind of fell in with that. No direct like idea to make a part 2. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And then moving on to The Mind's Eye. I love this. What was that like going from Kismet to this?
Well, yeah, this EP was the first record that we had live drums on, so that was the first time doing that, having drumming with kids, and we worked with Forrester in this one, so we did self-produce this one, but we had a few extra minds kind of bringing this together, and like rehabbing bass tones and stuff like that, which we hadn't done before, so that was like kind of the main difference, as well as I guess us adding more distortion a little bit.
Yeah.
This is when that kind of started,
Yeah, I love this EP too. I think it was around the time when I first discovered the Omnific, or I was around 17, 18. I just, like I said, I think I was telling y'all, I discovered y'all through like a random YouTube suggestions. And since then I was like, wow. Yeah, but then I think you started touring, and then the Certain Virus That Shall Not Be Named happened. And then I guessing was around the time you started working on Escapades.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, but being as it was the debut full-length album, did you want to try something different than did you do on the first three EPs?
I think kind of as Matt was talking about when we wrote Sonorous, like that was, I think every EP that we've mentioned since then, Kismet and The Mind's Eye and Sonorous, we've just kind of been building up kind of what we want to be, and every band does this, but what we want to represent ourselves as musically. And I think Escapades is a perfect example of where we got to after all these releases, because no band has written music kind of in this vein with these kind of instruments. So like we kind of had to learn it from scratch and kind of build up our own methods of the way how to build a song in terms of layering with basses and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of the culmination of all that information and knowledge that we kind of learned and built. And we obviously still are doing that, but this is like very happy with how this came together.
Yeah, and I noticed like there was like a five year wait for a finally have a debut full length album. So, I mean, I know you had the three EPs beforehand, but why would you decide to be like, okay, now it's the time to make a debut full length album?
I think, like, going back to 2016, we definitely knew we wanted to do numerous EPs, because I think we knew we wanted to figure out like exactly what we wanted to do. So yeah, it would have been 4.5, 5 years to do Escapades, and that's when we felt that we had like the strongest, I guess, approach to how we could create the songs. Not necessarily the writing, because we were confident in that, but yeah, like how we wanted each instrument to sound. Because like we're two bass guitarists, but there's times where there's 5, 7, 9 bass tracks at once.
Damn.
And that's something we never would have considered doing on Sonorous and Kismet, and possibly even The Mind's Eye. I don't think we would have either. But we found like just the more layers of what we added, like kind of the more impactful some parts might be. And yeah, and then as you mentioned, COVID kind of delayed it as well. So
Yeah.
it could have been earlier.
Yeah, but did it like influence the album at all, or did you try to like keep that separate?
With COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as unfortunate as the whole pandemic was, it maybe assisted us because we had more time on it. Which I guess is the only positive we might be able to take out of the pandemic. But yeah, we definitely put a couple of years' work into that record, where we couldn't tour, we couldn't leave the house, so what else are we going to do, kind of thing. So yeah, it possibly helped us there.
Right. Right. And what was that like working with Clay from Polyphia and Antecedent? It's like a tongue twister. So what was that like working with him doing a guest spot?
That was really, really cool. An amazing solo that he wrote for it. It was really cool. And yeah, it was really interesting writing the drum part to his bass solo. Just like the hi-hats that follow it. It just makes it really expressive and fun to play by as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course you also have the new single "Fat Mackerel" out. So what was the whole writing and inspiration behind that track?
That's a good question, because sometimes I just sit down and just write music, and that's just what happens. That song was definitely one of those. Had an idea, like the intro kind of groove for 4 months beforehand. Then just one day when Jerome was over, I just kind of sat down and did the rest. I think there was a few parts at the very end from one of Toby's other songs that we haven't recorded yet, but I reckon it'll be out one day. Kind of stole from that to put into the ending groove, which I guess is okay to steal from your own band, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of, I guess, trying to like fuse together like some of like our collective ideas in, I guess, the way I interpreted it. But I guess the song naming and the story behind the music video came from
Yeah.
just like my whole life growing up through school, having the name Matt Fackel, everyone can pretty easily put together that you just flip the two letters, it becomes Fat Fackel, and it just kind of works as a title.
Yeah.
So you can sort of just exclaim it as a like just out loud, or it can fit into the story of being literal fish.
Yeah.
So when we approached our video guys, Still Point, doing that video, they just kind of took the literal meaning for a like a fishing video game, and it just looked awesome.
Yeah.
I've just been running with that theme since then.
Yeah, and I've seen like comments on there saying like this should be make this a real video game. Like I would play the shit out of it.
That would be cool. As I don't know how we approach doing that, but
Yeah.
that'd be a cool one to be able to sell.
Yeah. So with this new song, is that sort of like will be on the new album, or is it just kind of like a one-off kind of thing?
Sorry, I missed that because Doom started playing
Oh.
melodies.
Oh.
Sorry, what was that question?
So like with Fat Mackerel, is it sort of like a one-off kind of like single, or will it be on the next release?
It would be on the next release.
All right. Do you all have like a tentative like idea release day of when it'll be?
Next year. Next year, yeah. I think stuff should be announced pretty soon. So something along those lines.
Oh yeah, and I know you've been on this awesome tour right now with our homies in Neoblivious Scars and Beyond Creation. So how has the tour been? The most typical interview question ever, I always say.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, obviously it's been great, and we've now played 3 shows in America, and they've all been sick. You know, we've been waiting to come to America for a very long time. We know a lot of our fan base is here, so just be able to meet the people who have actually supported us since the start. Like, you get that all over the world, but like, it's genuinely a pleasure when you get put in those rooms and share that experience with those people.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but he's been wondering what took so long.
Money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and kind of wanted to talk about like y'all songwriting because for you Matt and Toby, because I know you've heard all the bass player jokes and memes and all that stuff, but I think like I mentioned before, you definitely have like a very creative kind of like approach to bass where you create like harmony and everything. So what is like your approach to bass?
Yeah, again, like when you're writing a song which is bass, a lot of techniques do come into play because that is kind of the only way to make it really engaging. At least for me personally, sometimes you have some simple stuff, but because you don't have vocals and it's just bass, you've got to kind of use some kind of different characteristics and articulations to kind of make it, you know, sound cool as just one bass. And so I kind of find myself just doing that a lot. And then harmonies come along with that. I don't know, like just again, it's all about songwriting, and that's the end thing. About harmony techniques.
Yeah, and what about for you, Matt?
Well, I think something really, really cool about our band at the moment is Toby and I definitely have a different approach to songwriting, and you can probably hear it within Escapades, especially as a record, that there's like kind of 2 different sides of the same coin kind of thing. Like there's a lot of rhythmical songs which Toby's very good at, and I like to tend towards like melodies as well, and that I find is all over Escapades and all our music moving forward, which I guess we can cover like a full range of ideas in songs and makes them a lot more interesting to listen to. My approach to songwriting specifically is I kind of like to start with like, I usually start at the very start of the song when I write it. But like once I get the intro down, everything kind of falls into place after that. A lot of like singing melodies, that's where I like to start. And if I like it, I'm going to keep going with it, and then hopefully if it turns into a song that we like to release, then hopefully everyone else enjoys it.
All right, and for you, Jerome, being a drummer, because usually the drummer's job is to like keep the beat and the tempo. So do you usually have like an entire drum pattern written, and then the rest of the guys write according to that, or do you need to hear what the rest of the guys are doing in order to lay down your parts?
I write to what's already been written most of the time, like bass-wise, and they give me like a general like consensus to follow for the actual like where the beat goes, and then I just add like a bit of flair to it, I guess.
Yeah.
And make it fun, and yeah, so sort of try and add even more, try to push it to be cooler as well.
Yeah, and kind of like in the end to wrap things up, what's next for the Omnific? Yeah.
There's long 2-month tour, and yeah.
Is that it? All right. Well, thank you guys for this interview. It's just great to be able to talk with you. Is just anything else you want to say to close this interview out?
Stay
Yeah.
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 And I guess keep your eyes peeled for, well, if this interview comes out soon, I guess if you're from America, we're playing in a town near you, hopefully. I assume America's big. And yeah, keep your eyes out for our new record when that comes out next year as well.
Awesome. So everybody, the Omnific, we'll see you next time.